Hello everyone, this is Blender Guppy. In this video, I'm going to recreate the Borg donut that I posted on Twitter and Instagram. Let's go ahead and make the major segments to 64 and minor segments to 16. So this is torus, add torus using Alt S to flatten or make the body of the donut bigger. Actually, let's go ahead and use a much bigger resolution than this. So 64 times 2. And this is 16 times 2 is 32. Okay. Now, oh, let's minute. And this is because we can avoid the um, subdivision banding when it comes to cylinders and using the subdivision in the random operations. So you can see the banding there, and you can go like cuts one, but as soon as you get to level two, let's start the band. You can see the banding right there. So in this case, with the base mesh having that much of a resolution, when we use subdivision level one, we get this. So I think this is enough faces for the randomization to play with. But we can't use this as a whole because this consists for 4,000 faces, and using any of the random operators in this will probably cause Blender to crash. So we're going to partition this first. Selecting all the faces and using partition mesh, splits this into multiple objects using depending on the mode. So right now we're going to use random and radial. Set the panels, minimum panel size to 5 and maximum 10. Oh, how about minimum of 2 and maximum of 5? Okay, so this splits it into um, multiple objects, and using this resolution, we can use the random operators without having the possibility of crashing Blender. Okay, so just level 1 subdivision, and we're just going to increase the detail, we're going to decrease the panel size. So I'm not going to use merge this time, I'm just going to use the um, non-destructive result, which is the default behavior of the atom. And also use random loop extrude, 3 loops, solvers, and just increase the subdivision to something like, yeah, 2, 1, and let's play around with the solvers and also the path. The path only works for the walk solver, which is number 1. Okay, let's just use number 1 for all of the loops. Actually, Might have to increase the subdivision. I'm going to see banding, but that's okay. And also use voxelver to get the most detail. And we can just probably use limited dissolve as well to get rid of the banding. And 2.5 to 2.5 degrees for the max angle to keep the shape. When we use 5 degrees, some of the areas are losing its curvature. So just decrease the max angle, 2.5. You can even go down as far as 1 degree. And let's just look for something that like, oh, wait a minute. Um, Before I do this, I need to control click on the partition mesh to join it. Then I'm going to UV it first before randomization. So you control E, mark seam and unwrap. Let's go to the UV editor. Okay, we need to unwrap the middle part as well. There we go. Mark seam and unwrap, and also break the loop. Wrap it here. Mark seam, unwrap. Okay, and now we're going to make this a straight square. So W align horizontally, and align vertically, and then select all these and make this the active phase, and then unwrap, follow active quads, length average. There we go. And same here as well. Using this phase, align horizontally, vertically, and going to phase selection mode. Make this the active phase. Unwrap, follow active quads. You have the option here. Let's just use left average. And then pack this, pack the islands into the um, UV square. Okay. Oops. UV, pack islands, UV, pack islands. So this is new. Exact shape, boundary shape, convex, scale, rotate. Okay. Let's just manually place it. Average scale. There we go. And we can go ahead and randomize this. The randomized object will inherit the UV of the source mesh. Like everything again, partition mesh. And, okay. Random loop extrude. Selecting all the three loops and subdivision. Using 5 cuts. And we can just pick the, after that, we can just pick the split objects. Then press Shift R to redo the action. So you can still bring up the undo menu using the F9 hotkey and then change the parameters or the result of the randomization. Just pressing Shift R. If you were to do this on the entire mesh without partition, then the operation will of course be very slow since we're using subdivision cut of 5. Okay, did we miss something? Okay, now let's go to let's pick the parent and let's pick the immediate children, and it doesn't pick the parent. Control Shift, I think Control Shift G, no, Shift G and then press Shift. No, it doesn't do that. Shift G, parent, Shift G, immediate children, and then pick this. Now we're just going to um, actually, let's not do that first. I'm just gonna show you the UV, Shift G, immediate children. So Shift G is select similar, hide this, and then so this is the UV. Look at that, inherited from the source mesh. So this is actually a quick way for you to use the randomized result for concept art, since we're just aiming for speed. So for production, you'd have to be, your workflow will be a bit more different. But this is just for concept art, so having this kind of UV is enough for us. So actually, yeah. So let's get rid of all the, or hide them. Hide. Then we go back here. And let's try and use tubes. So curve and bevel offset. Offset is uniform toggle here. Or we could go random. Let's try random. Length. Okay, segments of 5. So this means that the pipe can have 5 segments before it is forced to turn. Not forced, before it is allowed to turn. If it can turn. Length is probably just, actually let's just use subdivision level 1, 10, and 5. Minimum length is 5. And let's just do the shift R again. Okay, here we have the pipes. And I think we can also do, uh, so this is our Borg donut. And I think we can also do, wait, spikes. Okay, and this again. And I'm just gonna save this Borg donut. I think we can do spikes, random cells, and individual depth cells. Press it. Increase the cut to make the face smaller. I'm making the spike smaller as well. And pool size is 5, 10. If this doesn't look good, we can just delete it. Make this smaller. Subdivision level 10. And shift R on the islands. This might clip the plate, but just going to hide that in render. Or you can manually delete the spikes. Actually, clip the plate later on. The out age. Okay. Um, I don't know. Let's make the plate. Okay, the plate. Increase subdivision, WS to subdivide. And then use loop tools, circle to make it a circle again. F to close the face, and then I inset. I think no. And then grab the non-manifold edge. Grab this edge scale and Alt S. Let's take a look at the normal. So where's the normal info? Face orientation. So that's good. So we want the blue here. So this is the negative side. So that's good. And there we go. Now we're going to set the plate right here and give it some thickness, modular thickness using creative flow, draw modifiers, use solidify and increase the thickness. Okay. Now we can give this a bevel, micro bevel, use bevel, and harden normals. And for this one here, I think we can also just manually bevel this. Whoops. Okay, there we go. And UV this using the project from view. Let's go ahead and watch the UV, what it looks like. And UV um, Pack Islands. There we go. Okay, now we're going to shade this. But first, I'm going to set a diffuse color for, wait. I'm going to hide the rest of the objects. So in the next update, I'll probably introduce collections for this, for the randomized object results to keep the outliner cleaner. Okay. Just pick one of this object and then control click to merge them. Uh, H. Okay. Hide this. Shift G and type. Let's convert the tubes into a mesh. So apply mesh and Shift G T. Select all the mesh types and then run the vertex color. I'm just going to use no saturation and islands. So different vertex color for mesh island and also dirty vertex color as well. Dirt only. No. Um, the dirty vertex color is optimal for quad structure and it doesn't really work great for ingons. Okay. Going to up in the materials using up in the grunge shaders using the up in materials operator in random flow and set sign material our flow metal for this donut. Activate HDRI and see what we get. Okay, I'm going to attach the vertex color we added earlier. So attributes mix for the attributes menu to show up. Be sure that you have node wrangler activated in the user preferences of Blender in the add-ons. So activate this, and then you will have the attributes menu here. So just connect the color to this. Okay, we're going to watch the or modify the scale of the grunge nodes. Then we're going to introduce light using the light UV shader node. Okay, it should be green because Borgs are green. Circle, torus. Okay, let's try and set emission for the torus and see if it can go through the random objects. Let's see what effect we can do with that. Set this to 10. Okay, we need texture for this. I'm going to use the texture that came with the Grand Shader nodes. So panel 2, panel 1 color, panel 2 color. Okay, let's try this one. And use converter or color ramp to control it. Increase the scale. Okay, we can also use ambient occlusion for the. We can try and use ambient occlusion to add some emission effects. Let's try this one. If it doesn't work, we can just remove it. I've set the ambient occlusion to only local, so it only affects itself or the objects that has the shader, and for the rest of the objects in the scene, it doesn't use ambient occlusion on those. Now let's go for the plate and just add a simple material, name it plate, and set the roughness to okay, specular is something like zero point 0.1. And then for the image texture, you can go ahead and just Google plate textures and then use that. Just be sure of the where's the downloads. Okay, now we need to create the okay, this is what we're hiding from the viewer, but that's okay. They want to see that in render. Let's add a plane and then scale it up. I'm going to scale it up in edit mode so that I don't have to apply the scaling object mode. Okay, and also creates a simple material on that and uh, table. Then I'm going to press Control Shift T, which will enable me to add like a principled BSDF texture setup for this. So in order for that hotkey to work, you need Node Wrangler activated. And I'm going to use the HDRI images, textures I get from Polyhaven for the table texture. Textures, where is the table? So you can see the browser window. So blanks. There we go. Okay, let's just frame it on the render window so we can edit the look properly. So the hotkey for setting the view as the render view is Control Alt 0, zero on the numpad. So whenever a face and whenever the whatever angle the viewport is facing, you can immediately use this for the render view using Control Alt 0, and your active camera will uh, go to that location, to the view location, which was the one earlier, and then uh, look at what the 3D view is looking at that time. So you don't have to move the camera around and do this, do that. You can just look at the model and then Control Alt 0. And then you can also then if you try to move this, you can just see that it's going out of render view. You can try and toggle on lock camera to view. You can find it in here as well, I think. Camera, no, it's in view. Camera, wait, item, I think it's in view. 3D cursor, view lock, camera to view, enable view navigation. Yes, there it is. It has a new name, which is different from. They are actually the same toggle value, but this is just a different name. You can toggle that on in track lights as well. It's named lock camera to view. Then you can move the view around without having exiting the render view. And this also set depth of field, and you can set the 3D cursor. So 3D cursor shift space, select cursor, and in this toggle on surface project. So when you click on the surface, the 3D cursor will snap on that surface, and then we can use that to um, for this function, make empty and focus. So the empty will be created on the location of the 3D cursor, and that empty will be our focus point. You can also increase this to make the empty go towards the camera and then back to its original location. So there we go. You can additional control for the f-stop. R X, then Z, Z, move to the Z axis. Okay, and let's center the donut on the camera. Click on the plates and press the what's this? The period button in the numpad. There we go, and then just zoom in. So now it's center. And let's just play around with the lights. You can of course use your own lighting here. I'm just using HDRI because it's faster. Okay, that is our Borg donut. Okay, we can we can set this further using animation, hide everything and select everything here, and then in random animation, press space to view the animation to make the animation run. So you can see here an anime player. That means that the animation is running. Then we can use random animation in the selected objects. We're going to use rotate, and in the Z axis, continuous mode, and then increase the seed to 2. When you're using 1 for the seed, they're going to have uniform values for all the objects selected. Once you go past number 1, then every object will have its own random value. Let's set the frames to higher. Let's set the frame higher to make it small, to make the animation slower. And this is your rotation. It gives different rotation for all of the objects involved. Okay, let's try and the ground shader nodes is built for cycles, but let's try and view it in material preview, and hopefully we can view all of the effects. Okay, now run the animation. We can view this in cycles. Nice effect here. Okay, material preview. As it's not possible to view it in cycles, it's too noisy. We need to actually um, render the animation to view it clearly. But we can view what it kind of looks like in Eve, minus all the cool shadows and reflection. We're using the 3D cursor again, snapping this to this surface, and in track, make lamp and track, it will create a lamp on the position of the 3D cursor. Then a lamp and an empty. Then the lamp will be selected. If we grab it, it's going to track on the empty. So the track lights is built for quick presentation renders for singular subjects. It's not really created for uh, large scenes with multiple points of interest. You can still change the location of the tracked empty by just snapping the 3D cursor again and then make empty and tracked. So we already have the lamp selected. We don't need to create a new lamp. We'll just create a new empty and then track it. The previous empty will be removed. Actually, we can set it on the center. So cursor selected and then selecting that lamp, make empty and track. So it tracks the center. And let's just try and render this since we can't really render the animation. Okay, F12 using there is 64 samples. Okay, uh, we have our donut. So the glare, we can set it to 6 to reduce the glare. Something like 8 or 7. And then the map range. So this is the highlights. So we can set it to 0.95, 0.15 is version. We have Can increase the pressure. Okay, so that is our Borg donut, and I think it's my video captures disappears a lot. I don't know why. Maybe probably because of the hotkey. Oh, yeah. Space. Yeah, this is our Borg donut. So it's really easy. Just use the partition mesh to break the initial torus structure into multiple objects so the random operators can work much faster because of the lower subdivision of each pieces versus using the whole mesh. That's it for this video, and I hope you learned something new on the add-ons. If you have any questions, use the comment section or the links in the description. Hit subscribe and notify. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.